So we saw when we add in our CSS, we can really control the look and feel of our website. So another thing that I usually like to include at the top of my web page is specifying the different way to handle hyperlinks. So within our web page, we've got a whole bunch of hyperlinks, and I typically don't like to see this underline. So this is one of the first things that I usually remove, and it's just text decoration, and we just do text decoration none. So that removes that default underline that is attached to every anchor property. So now we can see whenever I refresh the page, we've got no underlines on them. And also, by default, the font is blue, so I want to update it to a more modern look and feel, and actually to be more in line with the website that I'm designing. So maybe I want to have red instead of blue, because it just makes more sense with the content that I'm producing, and maybe it works better with my background images. So this is where you select out the different color schemes that you're going to be using and start applying them within your website design. So another thing here, that now that we've changed to red text, it doesn't actually exactly look like they're hyperlinks. So this is where we need to add in a pseudo class. So we can add in pseudo classes, and they're classes, and they're indicated here by the colon there, and then we specify what type of pseudo class we want to add in. And what we want to happen is every time the user hovers over it, we want to add in, maybe we want to add back the underline. So this is commonly done as well. So we add in underline, and so text decoration underline, and maybe we want to add in a different color. So we want to make it really stand out, so maybe make it go completely red. And now whenever the user hovers over it, they can see that this is commonly used for hyperlinks, and that now these are indicative of what hyperlink looks like on the website. So the user now knows that these are hyperlinks. And when you are looking to make updates on your website, there's a really good resource at Yahoo where we've got developer Yahoo patterns. So these are what we typically see as design patterns for designing websites. So we've got some typical uses of different ways to set up patterns, and that users can understand that this is how we can present different elements on our web page that the user would understand. Because of course it's really important that the user can come in and understand that these are hyperlinks. So of course this is a lot more advanced here, where we've got accordions and we've got breadcrumbs and so on. But this is the idea of when you're designing your website and you're applying your CSS, always take into consideration what the user is going to see and how they're going to be able to interact with that content. And this goes all the way to how you're presenting hyperlinks, because hyperlinks are one of those basic essential pieces of elements that are within your website that you want the users to be able to recognize. So by this I mean that you don't want to have hyperlinks and turn them black or something like that with in line with the rest of your content, because when that happens and we refresh it, we actually don't know where the hyperlinks are. So even though we can still hover over them and we see the color changes, we need to have something that the user can understand that would represent that these are hyperlinks. So always keep that in mind. Always keep in mind common design patterns and just different ways that developers have been creating user interaction so that the user can come to your website and really understand how your website is to be interacted with. You don't want to leave the user confused as to something simple as hyperlinks, that they're looking for your website and they don't know where they are. In the next lesson, we're going to look at some more common CSS properties that we're applying to basic websites as we're designing them to really bring out that look and feel that we're looking for to create HTML structure into an actual website. So all of that is coming up in the next set of lessons.